What's up, guys? Andre here, along with Ash Paulson, Derek Benier, and Tom Arnold. We just finished day 1 of E3. We're caught up on all the games, all the announcements for Nintendo, not everyone else. You know that by now. So I figured we'd get together, give our thoughts overall on the announcements since the showcase or spotlight, as well as talk about our hands-on times with games like Mario Odyssey, Fire Emblem Warriors. Yeah. For some reason, like Fire Emblem sounded weird to me right then. I don't know why. And everything else. So I guess we have to talk about Mario Odyssey first.
Yeah.
Right? That is. I think we all actually played it too, right?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dad. Oh, man.
Yeah, no, the thing was, like, I did get out of the media room, but the problem was that, like, the lines were just ridiculous.
They weren't that bad.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of lines, but each line takes maybe 40 minutes to get through.
Oh, okay, maybe that's the issue. Because when I look into that just mesh of people, it looked like...
It's intimidating.
That looks like a 90-minute wait, honestly.
Right.
10 minutes a person, try to find one in the line in the middle and just go for it.
Yeah. I'm going to try it before I leave. I'm dedicated to that.
You better. We're not having another Breath of the Wild in our hands.
Right.
Don't worry. You guys don't have to break out the free Derek hashtag. I got out of it. Got to explore a little, and actually even got to try Sonic Forces. But we're here about Mario. So
that's right.
Mario.
So no more about how Derek didn't play Mario. Let's talk about how we did play Mario.
Yes.
Ash, what did you think of Mario Odyssey?
I am really, really liking it. I'm so excited for this game. This is Nintendo, so of course it's Mario, so it's not surprising, but there's so much seemingly effortless creativity on display here, and of course it's anything but effortless, but it's just amazing. And I mean, I didn't feel like it was perfect. I had a few minor issues. Like I mentioned to you, Andre, earlier, that I feel like Mario's movement speed was a little slow, a little weighty. He felt more like he plays in Super Mario 3D World than I thought he would for a game that's supposed to be more sandbox style, like Super Mario 64.
Right.
So I would like to make him, I'd like him to feel a little lighter and faster on his feet, but that's such a minor complaint in the grand scheme of things. I really had a great time with this game.
So what appealed to you, like, personally about the game? What stuck out to you about Mario Odyssey?
I think just all the different things you can do, like all the way the gameplay switches up from moment to moment. I mean, we didn't know until today that Mario can, take possession of anything really and turn into anything like bullet bills and I did that in my demo a lot. I turned into a bullet bill and flew through rings, and then you're doing a 2D section inside the wall, like in Link Between Worlds, and I mean the moment to moment gameplay just changes, and it's just there's so much. It seems like there's a lot to do. It's like a giant playground, and I'm really excited.
I think that in the integration, the 2D elements, it's just beautiful. It's a great idea. Like, they toyed with the idea before in games like Paper Mario, Link Between Worlds. Here, they freaking nailed it, I feel like. They've been working... Mario Odyssey almost feels like a culmination of all the Marios before it in some ways, and, they're just taking everything they've learned across Mario's 25-year history, 30-year history, or whatever, and putting it all into one game, and that is what makes it so exciting.
Yeah, they've taken... It's like Galaxy, but stepped up a notch again, it feels like, and... being the sort of paper Mario, we'll call him, or the flat 2D Mario, actually when he wraps around the tower, that's a bit harder to control, I found, than just seeing it head on. I found it was a bit different. And other than that, I was really impressed by the transition between, let's say, going from Bullet Bill Mario back to just regular Mario, hitting a wall, just he hops forward, and it's not like what you expect where you might get hit and flashing and, you're not moving for a second. It was a seamless transition back to his movement, and really great overall. Just, I do agree with Ash, a bit sluggish compared to Mario 64 in my memory, but that's about it.
Yeah, I actually agree with the sluggishness, because we were talking about this before, Ash, and I know to you something felt different about it, but wasn't sure of the sluggishness you described. But I played the game again, it actually is a sluggishness, I think.
Yeah.
Mario does feel a little bit slower than I feel like he should be, or that I'm used to, at least for the 3D games.
For a game like this specifically.
Yeah, because in Mario Sunshine, he was a spry little fellow there.
Yeah, and in 64, and Galaxy. I mean, it felt like he played in 3D World a little bit, which that's a different, that's a linear game with, point A to point B, not an open world style, sandbox game like Odyssey. So hopefully that changes a bit before release.
It is... Oh, go ahead, Tom.
Now, did you guys ever get Mario sprinting with his arms up?
Yes, I think I did twice.
Yeah, when you did that though, it's like, whoa, too fast.
Yeah, and then there is the rolling mechanic, which I thought was nice. I mean, I used that when I was rolling around the sand area when I was just trying to explore and not finding much. I'm like, okay, I need to get around faster. And the rolling is cool, but I'm not sure if it's my favorite way to get around. It ironically felt a little like it did in Ukulele.
How dare you?
It did though. That's the thing. But you actually brought up a great point when I said that to you originally, was that in Ukulele, that is your main mode of transportation. And Super Mario Odyssey, at least so far, it doesn't seem like it's meant to be. It's an optional thing that you can do, but it's not necessarily expected that you're going to be rolling around everywhere.
Yeah. Like, I didn't even know about that move until you mentioned it. I tried it in the desert.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the new backflips in Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Right? Yeah, I know. No.
No, go ahead.
Well, actually, no, I forgot what I was going to say. So
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So it's interesting going back to the Mario 64 style of gameplay, though, because I said before, a lot of people kind of like group Mario 64 and Sunshine together, even though I felt like that's where they start. Yeah, they're not even close to the same. And this game definitely harkens more back to Mario 64, and even more specifically, I would say Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, because because the reason for the Mario 64 comparison, obviously, there's collectibles everywhere. In this case, of moons. And you can go any number of directions and find a different moon waiting for you there. Like you took control of a remote control car.
Yeah.
And like going through like a little maze, Austin Powers style.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was a bit difficult to control. It said left stick, accelerate, right stick directions. I ended up doing the Austin Powers parallel parking side to side all the way through. But I made it.
Nice.
But
That's awesome.
So the reason for the Banjo comparison though is because this game doesn't kick you out every time you find a moon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can keep playing, and it really does kind of like remind me of those games.
Yeah.
So it seems like Nintendo might have taken a look at some other 3D platformers, perhaps.
Perhaps. And I was watching, I was keeping track of the treehouse the entire time, and they showed off I think Steamy Woods or something like that, Steam Woods, the forest area that we saw from the initial trailer as well, and talked a little bit more about that. Showed some other things that you could possess, stuff like that. But one of the things they mentioned was they're not giving this specific numbers of moons that you can collect in the game yet. It sounds like there's a lot, like potentially even more than the usual 120 that we're used to.
I would not be surprised.
Me neither.
Given how many we found in a short playtime,
Yeah.
and seeing different people find different moons,
Right.
there has to be. Unless, we don't know how many levels are in the game yet, though, so...
They also didn't want to confirm how many levels were in the game, so we could be looking at quite a few more. It's hard to say.
Well, look at it this way. In Mario Galaxy 2, there was, the 120 green stars or some ridiculous amount. And these moons kind of might replace those just in the first playthrough.
It's hard to say. Like, I'm trying to think. They mentioned that there's going to be a lot of stars. They also mentioned that you're going to be playing this game for a while. Like, there's just tons to collect and find. And they seem to be really emphasizing that point. So, I don't know. I think we're in for a bigger Mario adventure this time around.
I think so. I'm just so happy we get the freedom and the creativity back from, like, that. I feel like Mario's kind of been lacking. Like, this is Mario I've been wanting for forever, and I'm just so, like, I love that you can think about going about ways, a particular task in different ways.
We were so naive to expect the wing cap.
Well, and
I'm
just intrigued by the fact that they really are going all in on this. Like, we're going to connect the Donkey Kong universe officially.
That's crazy.
To the Mario. We got Mayor Pauline.
Yeah.
Like, how meta are we getting now?
Yeah,
We're like, Pauline's the mayor and Mario's talking to her, but he's also going to rescue Peach.
Right.
Like, this is kind of weird.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
Because Pauline has not been a part of the mainline Mario game since the original Donkey Kong, if you consider that mainline game.
Yeah.
And Donkey Kong 94, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, are we to assume that Pauline just has gotten over? She doesn't mind that Mario's going after
took,
this other girl?
well, heck, she got rescued
She's
and
the
she
mayor
took
now.
over the city. Let's be honest.
she's a mayor now, so she doesn't need Mario, I guess.
It's been
She has
25 years.
And she has 3 times his height, so...
Yeah, that's
Good
true.
point. Good point.
It was also interesting. Nintendo's being very coy about whether Donkey Kong will show up or not.
Well, yeah, I feel like if they're being coy, that probably means they will.
Yeah.
But it's weird. I don't even know what to expect from this game anymore, so...
I almost want to, how cool would it be if you, of course, you fight Dapper Bowser to rescue Peach, and then, I don't know, DK comes on the scene, and you gotta go rescue Pauline now, because he kidnapped the mayor of New Donk City. That's such a throwback to Donkey Kong.
That would with the fact that there's the red girders there, I feel like that almost has to play a part in it. That's really cool. And Tom had an awesome idea for, a boss fight with Bowser.
Yeah, for Bowser in the boss fight, imagine the cutscene wherever you throw your hat at Bowser, and he throws his hat at you, and they miss, and they both possess each other. So you're playing as Bowser against Bowser as Mario.
That would be sick.
I'm gonna throw it out there, so to speak, like a hat. I think that might happen.
That could
No,
if they
I
end up
could
possessing-
totally see that.
If you're playing as Bowser to destroy Mario,
Yes, that'd be
but
amazing.
yeah, that would be so good, right?
Peach is on
Now
the
the
sideline.
only
It's like,
thing
oh.
preventing that is
Yeah.
that we do see that when Mario possesses it, his body goes inside theirs. So
That is true.
I
Good
could
point.
definitely see Mario possessing Bowser, but I don't know if you'd be destroying Mario.
What if you're
Maybe
like you're-
Luigi?
How dark would it be if you're Bowser and if you like go try and kill yourself?
That would be, I mean, that would be a really, really big leap.
It would be,
Yeah.
yeah.
That
That's
was
what it
the simultaneousness of the hat throws. That's the only way it could be possible. But
Right.
That'd be a weird time loop type thing, like inside the hat, maybe.
Indeed.
I do like I mentioned this during our takeaway from the initial spotlight, but I love the concept behind the rabbits. Like, we had no idea what they were going to be, and the fact that they're evil wedding planners. Like,
Yeah.
I cannot get over how clever that is, and how I love their designs. I'm totally for it.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to mention is that despite Mario feeling a little sluggish, in terms of movement speed, I want to say that, having played Super Mario 64 so much over the years, the controls just clicked for me instantly. Like, I was doing side flips, back flips, long jumps almost as soon as I picked up the Joy-Con grip, and that's how I played it, was with the Joy-Con grip, and it just felt so natural. It felt like coming back to Mario 64, and the timing felt the same on doing the moves, like the side flip and stuff, so yeah, I like it. It was really nice to be able to pick up and play this new game, but also feel very familiar and at home with everything Mario can do.
Yeah, they felt good. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Although the sluggishness did make it a little bit tricky to pull off some of the moves.
Right.
The only one I had that was not that tricky. More to execute them in the way I wanted to. Only because I wasn't used to the momentum. The only thing I actually had some trouble with consistently were the motion controls.
Oh, yeah?
Like, I've been trying to do the circular attack. Sometimes Mario would throw it straight ahead.
Oh, okay. I
don't
didn't have
know.
that problem.
Okay. I mean, I only did it a couple of times.
Yeah,
but-
and also I didn't quite get the motion. Like, I wasn't sure what the official motion for it was, and I just kept, I think swinging both Joy-Con to the left, and that just always gave me the spin attack. Whereas thrusting out forward gave me the throw. So I don't know.
Yeah,
But,
I'm not sure.
it's
Yeah.
like the Y button for the hat throw, and then you can hold it too to keep the hat in place.
yeah, and then you can actually move. You can jerk the Joy-Con either one way or the other, and you'll get like the hat will fling to that side, and you can
Yeah.
get a little extra area in the attack.
There is a lot going on in this Mario game. It's probably the most involved Mario
Yeah.
game they've ever made because controlling the hat at the same time as Mario it requires finesse, I think. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I saw some like fact sheets that come out, and one of the things, or at least something that people noticed, and one of the things they mentioned was how Mario can do a little spin, but unlike Galaxy, that does not give him any extra height or anything like that. It doesn't help his momentum in that way. So we are dealing with a very different controlling Mario.
I did find myself I kept throwing the hat to get a little bit extra height because I'm so used to
Oh, yeah.
the other games.
Yeah.
But it did seem to help because it gave it a little bit extra airtime, I think.
Sure, okay.
So, yeah. All right, so we're all agreed Mario's pretty awesome so far. I can't wait to play more of that, and we probably will tomorrow on day 3. So we're not done with you yet, Mario, especially with the freaking analysis I have to do. Jesus. So let's go and move on now. Let's talk a bit about Splatoon 2. I know you played that today.
Yeah,
Ash.
I got to play some Salmon Run, and I am a big fan of that mode. Salmon Run, for the uninitiated, is the new co-op mode coming to Splatoon 2, and I played on the 5% difficulty. Apparently, the difficulty can go all the way up to 100%.
And that's the lowest you can go, right?
Yeah, 5% is the
is
lowest
low.
you can go. And I'm not like a great Splatoon player by any means. I think I died a couple of times, and we ended up winning. But, even at 5%, the AI was fighting back a little bit. So I believe the Nintendo rep we were with told me that on 100%, she hadn't seen anyone last longer than 20 seconds. So
Wow.
that's pretty hardcore.
Yeah. I mentioned that to a few. I ran into Chaka Condor and Masay, and I told her that, and she loves Splatoon, and her eyes lit up so much, like, ooh, challenge. Like I think, and I got the same way, like some real AI challenge. That's what I'm really looking forward to, and I can actually see that kind of helping your skills at least a little bit as far as dodging and learning how to survive and not get inked right away.
Well, and something that's also key is communication, which I very quickly learned. Like, it's essentially the flow of the game is basically, you're fighting these enemies, and then bosses will appear, and you work together to destroy the bosses, and then the bosses drop golden eggs, and you have to take the eggs to a basket and fill a certain quota before the time ends. And it's helpful to be able to, shout to the people who are playing with you, hey, a boss just appeared down over here. So communication is key, and I gotta say I had a great time. Like, I see myself playing Salmon Run significantly more than I think like just co-op turf war, because I'm not great at turf war, but I do really like Splatoon. So I really like the idea of working together with other people. So I'm really excited to play more Salmon Run. I liked it.
Yeah, I can't wait to try it myself. It looks like a lot of fun.
Same.
I guess it was the only one who played it.
Yeah, exactly. I cannot wait to play this game.
Yeah.
All right, well, who all played Fire Emblem Warriors then?
I wanted to.
I did.
I actually made an effort. Like when we got out, the first place I had.
And then you squandered it.
Well, the thing is, I looked at Mario and I was like, okay, that's a little bit. And I was like, okay, there's Fire Emblem in the corner. I don't imagine that would be that bad. And I don't even know if it was that bad, but there was just so many people.
Yeah,
well, it was during the Splatoon 2 Invitational, like during the finals, so there were just people crowded around.
Yeah, it was just so jam-packed. There was no way to even get back to it, because I want to play it. I want to see how different it feels to Hyrule Warriors.
Not very much.
Really?
Okay. Well, yeah, so tell us.
And not in a bad way. That's not a disparage. I'm not disparaging the game. I did play, about a good 15 minutes of Fire Emblem Warriors, and it feels very much like Hyrule Warriors. And that's not a bad thing. This is another Musou game, but this is in the Fire Emblem world. I couldn't pick out that many differences. I mean, in Hyrule Warriors, you had a magic meter that you could activate. In Fire Emblem Warriors, it's called Awakening. It's basically the same mechanic. You have your light attacks, your heavy attacks. You can string them together to get various combos. You have your hero-specific special attacks. It plays like a Musou game.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with that. Although I guess the one thing I would say is that it's clearly a work in progress. There were a lot of frame drops, a lot of stuttering, and I'm not worried about that being a problem in the final game, really. But, it's certainly a work in progress, and that's reflected in the quality of the graphics that we see so far.
Did Hyrule Warriors run that steady?
No, yeah, it was
it was 30 frames.
Yeah, it was pretty steady.
Yeah, and it was pretty. I feel like it was mostly stable. I think there was a little stuttering,
hiccups here and there.
But I fully expect this to be a lot more polished than it looks right now. I'm not worried at all.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I mean, this game has an uphill battle.
It does.
It really does, because at first thought I was like, oh, this sounds awesome. Fire Emblem and Dynasty Warriors, that goes together so well. But then, of course, there's so many characters to choose from Fire Emblem, and when you're limiting it to the two most popular games in the original, as it makes some fans that were fans before it became super popular feel really left out. And then, of course, they give the excuse that we don't want to have too many sword users, because that's why we don't want to have pull from characters across the entire series. And I know I said this before, but every single character uses a freaking sword. The only character that stood out as being kind of different that I could tell was Xander, and that's because he was on a horse the entire time. So it made his movements a little different, and his combat seemed a little different. I think Corrin could also be a little different because of the dragon abilities.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I actually got to play as Corrin. I got to play as Corrin, Marth, Chrom, and whatever the new blonde kid, the original character.
Yeah, the original character.
And I can't remember his name. But Corrin did feel like appreciably different, even though she uses a sword. And she, by the way, I love that this is female Corrin. I always liked her design a lot more. But yeah, so she, even though she's a sword user as well, she did feel appreciably different from Chrom and Marth. Although Chrom and Marth felt... Well, I mean, they still feel different, but they're obviously more similar.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. It's also, I wonder if it's because it's the demo, but they did say the weapon triangle would be a major part of this, and it doesn't sound like that came up for you at all.
It didn't, not really much in the demo, but I'm sure that, I'm sure
it's
the
level
demo,
1,
it's
right?
rationed down to, like, super weak enemies, I'm sure.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Did anyone play Mario & Rabbids today?
No.
I know Tom got footage. How did it look?
Actually, well, when I got to the line, it was closed, so...
of course.
That's a tomorrow thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, how about... I know you played Mario & Luigi, Ash.
Very briefly. I'd say for about 10 minutes, and I got a kind of a small snippet of it. It's weird. So I started with a part of the game that is the new Minions part, and the Bowser and Minions, so it's like the hands-off... you select, you position your minions, and then they fight automatically, and it's really incumbent upon you to pick the kind of minions that are going to be powerful against the enemies you're fighting. I think there are melee minions, ranged minions, and flying minions, and they're all weak and strong against a different kind of enemy. And so it's, you basically do the arrangement beforehand, and then they fight automatically. Wasn't really feeling it. I mean, that's cool, but for me, one of the things I love about Mario & Luigi is the battle system. And now to be fair, in the minions part, even though you didn't have direct control, there were still timed attacks. So there was some engagement there, but I didn't see this, being as fun as just Well, because then I got to switch to a regular save file and play as Mario and Luigi, and it felt like coming home.
Right.
So, like, it's cool, but I don't see that holding my attention as much as just replaying the main game again. Yeah.
At the very least, I do appreciate that they're adding extra content. It's not just a simple remake, even though this is arguably the best of the Mario and Luigi series. Bowser's Inside Story, of course, battling it out with it.
Now the key question is, are they also properly updating the Mario Brothers arcade game that was the original, right?
Oh, yeah.
That, I know, I wonder.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I do have one more thing to say. I actually did play on a new 2DS, and that was my first time holding a new 2DS. And that thing's really light, like you said.
Like I told you, it's
super
surprisingly
light.
light. You go to pick it up and just, whoa.
And the front and the top part does look like an iPhone, almost. It's really weird. And, yeah, so, new 2DS, pretty cool. But I did ask my Nintendo rep, and you guys are going to laugh, but there are fans out there who are going to want to know this. No stereoscopic 3D, even if you play on a 3DS.
Really?
Which is a bigger deal to me than usual, because I thought Dream Team had some of the best stereoscopic 3D on the system, and I was really hoping it would come back, and nope. Not happening. So
that's weird.
They confirmed to me 2D only, no matter what model you're playing on.
They did use it well, so that is surprising.
Yeah, I thought that was actually, and I even said, she's like, well, what do you think about that? I'm like, I mean, I admit that kind of stings. Like, I was really hoping, but I also admit that I'm one of the minority who really cares about that. So
just towing the line, supporting the new system.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but it's just too bad that for people who did go in and spend the extra money on a 3DS, that they seem to have unofficially just kind of dropped support for it. So
a little bit.
Yeah.
It's also coming out surprisingly soon, like in September, right?
I actually thought it would be sooner. I was thinking like July.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah,
true. Like, it felt like a kind of game they would just throw out there pretty soon.
Yeah,
after
I almost thought it would be today. Like, no surprise.
Yeah. I did get that prediction wrong. I did not release a game today.
Yeah,
and that's usually something that's rock solid as far as a prediction. Although I will admit that I would have preferred Mario and Luigi coming out in August, because this fall is looking really packed, Andre.
It's going to be. There's a lot of stuff coming, so it's going to be a busy year, which is good. Yeah, I mean, good and bad.
Yeah.
All right, Sonic Forces. I know a couple of you played it.
Yeah.
At least.
I wish I was one of those people. I'm going to play it tomorrow, but I think, Derek, you spent the most time playing it.
Yeah, actually, it was weird. I jumped in line at Sega and played the PS4 version. I don't think there's probably going to be too much of an appreciable difference. And
hold on.
Actually, on the contrary,
really?
yes.
Really?
So I actually went from watching you play the PS4 version, then I wandered over to film Fire Emblem Warriors, next to which is Sonic Forces, the Switch version, and that is a solid 30 frames per second compared to the PS4 version, which is 60 frames. And I mean, I noticed a difference immediately. So, and I tweeted that out, and it caught on pretty quickly. But at least for now, I don't know if that's going to be the case at launch, but for now, I can confirm that Sonic Forces is 30 frames on Switch and 60 frames on PS4 and assumedly Xbox, but I can't say for sure.
Yeah, I played the Switch version. Definitely a bit sluggish. It felt, because of that, it feels unpolished. Like, it feels like 70% of the way there on Switch.
And I mean, and I don't know how it felt to play it, Derek, but I have to say, when I was watching you play, it looked fantastic. I love seeing modern Sonic stages run in 60 frames. Like, that's
it looked cool. Good, and I'll be honest, like, I was always planning to pick up Sonic Forces on my PS4. I was not, like, Mania, Switch, definitely, but like, Sonic, I'm definitely going to go for something a little bit with more horsepower for it, to just take advantage of it, because Sonic games always look so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was surprised I actually got to try out all 3 stages. Started with Modern Sonic, tried him out, and it felt classic. There was no, like, it felt like Sonic. He does have a double jump. Good modern Sonic stuff.
Sorry, when you say it feels like classic,
okay.
you mean not classic Sonic.
It feels like classic modern Sonic.
Okay, I'll throw up by that too.
Yeah. It feels like classic modern Sonic. Like, if you're used to how Sonic controls in, like, 3D and colors and generations, you're in the same boat here.
Is that classic now? Like,
well, I think he meant. I think he just meant it. He plays like modern Sonic has played in the games he's in those games, like generations.
Me not word
colors.
so good.
Yeah.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, it has
got
been.
A homing attack.
Yeah, you got the homing attack and all that. The sidestep, it felt good. It felt really responsive. Honestly, I don't know. I almost felt like I had a little bit more control than usual. Like, I never felt like I was struggling with that. Like, I made some mistakes, but that's because I was exploring. Because I was like, I wonder if I could find all the red rings. And I only found 2 in the grand scheme because I didn't want to hold people up. Because it turns out I could play all 3, so I just played all 3 versions. Went to classic Sonic and did the whole boss fight against Eggman. screwed up the first time
I
because
kept watching that.
I was like, the ring popped out of me. He was like, "Where's the ring?" Oh, I thought I got the ring, and I got hit by a saw blade. I was like, "Oh, I'm dead." So I died to the classic Sonic 1 boss, and that's embarrassing.
It literally is the boss of Green Hill Zone in Sonic 1 with a saw blade attached instead of a wrecking ball. And I kept watching him die, and I'm like, what?
Well, just
Derek.
once. I only died once.
Oh, was it once?
Yeah,
Okay,
it was only
okay,
once.
okay.
But yeah, I died to it the first time, so I was a little bit more conservative with me picking up rings the second time. Handled them fine. Got to the Dragoon part, and honestly, that was easier.
Yeah, it looked like it.
It was it was really simple to just hit the rock. So it wasn't super involving. I wouldn't call it a great boss fight, but it was still fine enough. And it is intriguing with that trailer that they released, showing that Chaos, Zavik, Shadow, and Metal Sonic are all back as villains as well.
Right.
And I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of enjoy that. Yeah, I know there's the whole meme online about Sonic's terrible friends, but to a point, I enjoy them, and I don't know, like I think I'm gonna enjoy like Knuckles and Shadow and Silver and Vector chatting. while I'm playing.
I enjoyed that.
I enjoy them. It's
like
it's goofy, but I like it.
Yeah, it didn't feel interruptive at all. Like they come in, it's not like they're constantly talking. It's just like you hit a certain point, then that dialogue pops.
It doesn't pause the action or anything.
No, exactly. It's just coming in from the radio, and there's this radio filter for it. It sounded good, and I enjoyed that part of it, and then. I did, of course, try out an Avatar stage and see how they were different, and it's all about like the gadgets that you can use and the wisp abilities that you could put to good use. And I had tried a new electric wisp that was pretty fun, and I got a fire wisp, and I never noticed it doing anything unless that was maybe for boost, and I just wasn't noticing. But I think something was throwing me off about the Avatar.
Just watching you play it, that easily looked like the worst part of the game to me.
Yeah.
Like, easily. Like, I can already tell.
Nice.
Like, I can already tell I'm going to want to play as modern and classic Sonic, but not the Avatar.
There was this one section I was going through that I died again again. And the worst part was, it was the same damn pit.
Yeah.
And I kept falling into it, and I'm like... I swear I've played a Sonic game before. I'm not this bad. I love platformers. Why am I sucking? And I eventually did get through it, but there was something, I don't know, it felt kind of loose playing as the Avatar. Maybe it was because of the kind of Avatar I was playing, because they randomize it. So it's not the same one. It was a little floaty. It didn't feel like it stopped at the right moment. Maybe I was also, like, because I was coming off Modern Sonic, I was expecting a double jump. I was constantly trying to double jump and failing in that way. But it felt odd, even though like you do feel powerful as the
Avatar.
As the Avatar, because you have that crazy electric whip that I was just destroying enemies with. Like that was really fun. And I also have to like sort of dock it because there was this chase sequence at the very end where you get, and I died in that too. I'm like, why did I die? Like I'm looking out for it. Why didn't I see it coming? And it's because I had to look up.
Yeah.
And there's these brown blocks falling, and I was looking towards, like I was waiting for its claws to come after me or something like that.
Right.
So Avatar to me feels like the weakest part so far, but I think there's definite potential.
Yeah, I mean. I'm excited, actually.
I mean, for everything else.
Right,
for everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for what I've seen, and it was really nice seeing the game run in 60 frames, because, I've gone on record saying I loved Sonic Generations and Colors, and even parts of Unleashed, and those games, of course, were all 30 frames. So, I've always enjoyed Modern Sonic's gameplay like that, and to see it running in a, buttery smooth 60 frames with the kind of graphical fidelity, I mean, that's a great-looking game from what I've seen. And even the Switch version, even if the performance isn't as good, 30 frames... I'd got to say the graphical fidelity was actually pretty. It looked pretty, similar to me. So
I will say the explosion from Eggman at the end was kind of iffy.
Okay,
not Mighty Number 9 levels bad, but still a little iffy. But like they had this nice grass blowing effect, stuff like that.
What do you think, Tom?
Well, it reminded me of Sonic Colors, which was a good thing with the Avatar level I played. But the whip ability, that was a neat addition. I found that some parts, so I guess you really have to be good at Sonic games to get that wisp ability, just press a button and blast through all the coins, because then I found myself whipping a long line of enemies from time to time. But I felt that level's a little bit more on rails than some of the other games, like Sonic Adventure and whatnot, but It's not dog crap Sonic. Let's put it that way.
Do we know if the wisps are limited to the Avatar stages?
I'm not sure about that because you do pick up wisps as modern Sonic, but
Okay.
that's mainly for boosts. Like there's no other wisp that showed up during that time.
If they did away with the wisps and never brought them back, I'd be fine with that.
Well, considering they're bringing back everything else, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
kind of works if it is just for the Avatar. That makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
It makes it feel more unique in that way. I don't know. I'm curious, and they have another original enemy, of course, from that trailer.
Infinity, I think he's called.
Oh, is that what he's
I
called?
think it's called Infinity.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're getting into the classic, the Sonic goofiness.
This is like new Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. And the Sega is hitting that nostalgia hard, though.
Right.
How about Mania?
That's all you.
I didn't get to play it, unfortunately.
Oh, you just saw it, okay.
Yeah, so I just watched it. By the time I got over there, they would kind of cap the line because there's a huge line of people to play.
Mania is definitely the more popular title to try here.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to hit both first thing tomorrow. That's what I want to do.
I totally called it. I knew Mania's a
Yeah.
bigger title of the two.
To be clear, the stages that are playable are Green Hill Zone Act 2 with the boss fight with the Death Egg robot from Sonic 2, and Mirage Saloon Zone.
Nice.
Which is the first time I think it's been playable here, definitely at E3, but I don't think it's been playable to show yet, so that was cool. And I think another demo has Studiopolis too, and you can play as all three characters, so... I think actually that's the first time you've been able to do that too, is play as anyone other than Sonic at an event. So I definitely want to hit Sonic Mania first, play as Tails and Knuckles, try out Mirage Saloon. Yeah.
We actually did run into Aaron, and one of the questions I asked him was like, so any chance of a demo to release to the public? And he's like, love to, but if we did that would take time away, and basically it wouldn't release as soon as it is. So it was like, sorry guys, no demo for you.
Yeah, like, it was great. And Aaron, by the way, is Aaron Weber from Sega of America, and I think he's Sonic's brand manager. And it was great talking to him for a few minutes because it's unbelievably evident just how much confidence and just how proud they are of Sonic Mania. There's such a sense of confidence they have in this game, and it's you could see his eyes light up as he talked about it, and that's nice to see.
The first time in 20 years.
It's like you want to see the developers who are making this, making these games. You want them to be excited about it too, because that translates into a better game. So I'm so excited. That's the first thing I want to play tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any other big ones you played today, or is that pretty much it?
I didn't try anything else today. I actually didn't try anything else. I didn't really see anything else.
Yeah,
because that's the thing. It's like they have Pokken Tournament here as well, and what other games? Like I don't think there's
ARMS.
ARMS. Yeah,
Nintendo themselves doesn't have a ton of games available to play.
Yeah.
Especially, ARMS is here as you mentioned,
which had a huge line, which I don't understand because. Guys, it comes out on Friday. I get that you're here as a fan and you're excited, but use that precious time to play games that aren't coming out literally this week.
I cannot imagine spending like hundreds of dollars on a ticket to play ARMS.
Guys.
Yeah,
right.
Oh, you're right.
Good point. Never mind.
Everyone, go play ARMS tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I liked it in my review a lot, so check it
there
out.
you go. It's sort of that strange thing, but Nintendo did show off more. They showed off a ton of new amiibo. Like I'm surprised.
And we got to see them on the show floor.
Yeah, and they all look really good. Like
Pimp Bowser.
Yeah, exactly. Those new Mario amiibo look so freaking good.
If I were completely indifferent to amiibo, I would be in love with all of them.
Yeah, and as someone who's basically, I'm stopping collecting amiibo after Cloud. I might get like Dapper Mario and Dapper Bowser, or Pimp Bowser, whatever you want to call them, because they both look so cool. And even the other ones they were showing, like the new Fire Emblem amiibo, they look
good
nice.
to see Chrome and Tiki get some love. And Tiki indicates, of course, that she might be a character in Fire Emblem Warriors, which is a good choice.
And they had the new Splatoon 2 amiibo; those look nice. And the Zelda 30th anniversary amiibo, they were showing off Twilight Princess Link, Skyward Sword Link, and Majora's Mask Link, and they all look great. Like you can tell the amiibo production process has definitely gotten better.
Yeah, absolutely. And even finally Koopa Troopa and Goomba got some love as far as amiibo.
Right. Yeah.
So it was all good stuff. And I guess, what did you guys think? So obviously one of the things we've talked about before this is the fact that there's going to be 15,000 extra fans here.
You can tell.
E3, and you can definitely tell it is packed. It's also kind of weird because we're getting approached a lot more than normal.
And that's been enjoyable.
That
part of it's been great. It's been really great, meeting so many fans and interfacing with fans, but you can definitely tell it's a lot more crowded, and it feels like PAX in a way. It feels like a glorified PAX without the cool panels and stuff like that. It just feels like you're on a packed show floor, really.
At the same time, though, for as crowded as it is, I very much prefer how Nintendo handled their booth this year versus Zelda last year.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's actually not that hard to get on Mario. Like it looks daunting, but you can, if you want to go and get on within an hour or so.
Yeah.
Probably even less. 40
minutes.
Yeah, 40 minutes. And yeah, so like you can just hop into line for a game as opposed to waiting in line for 6 hours. It's closed a couple hours after the show opens. So
Yeah.
I'd say for 70,000 people, it's actually pretty good. And the difference here is that Nintendo's booth is way larger than at PAX. I mean, at PAX, I remember trying to play Kirby, and there's like 3 people ahead of me, and it was an hour or something.
Yeah.
I mean, here, the line moves 10 minutes each person for Mario. It's like, great, you can know the exact amount of time. And yeah, really, there's a lot more space here compared to a PAX.
the only complaint I have, perhaps as a side effect of the amount of people, is the Mario demo is only 10 minutes. Which isn't unusual for E3 demos, but for an open world style game like this, I want more.
Yeah.
Because I feel I had like a constant sense of I didn't feel completed after each session. Like I needed to do more. Like I was always in the middle or something. It was shut off. I'm like, no, I need to get that. You know that move going.
Well, I think you were saying that you initially played the New Donk City level, whereas I played the Sand Kingdom level, Toast Arena, I think it's called, and you said that looked more fun to you than what you played of New Donk City, right? Like
I think because in a way, I forget who was. Maybe it was you, Tom. I was talking to someone else about this. The Sand level, despite also being an open level, almost felt more structured in a way. So I think that might lend itself better to demo environments, not necessarily in the full game. I think New Donk City looks awesome.
Yeah.
It was fun, but I think in this, in the desert, like you see the temple ahead. It's like that's that's a clear objective right there.
Right.
Whereas in the city, you can get sidetracked by any number of things. So it feels like I felt like I spent a lot of time doing nothing in the city, as opposed to the desert, where I felt like I was making progress.
Gotcha.
Whereas if I was playing the game at home, I wouldn't care either way. But in the demo environment, like you don't get that sense of satisfaction for completing something as often.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the city level is sort of under the restrictions of actually having to be a city in the grid-based structure. It's a lot taller, so you can't see those objectives. And at the same time, maybe it looks a bit more empty compared to the desert, too. The desert level, definitely Sand Kingdom, it looks like a more complete Mario level, in my opinion.
Right.
Wait,
Although
the desert looks less empty than the city.
Well, like the desert. Yeah, that's funny how you put it. It's like they put Las Vegas in there.
Yeah. I will say that when I was playing the desert level, I just decided to go and explore, and my first objective actually was to, you start at the same point that you should do in the trailer that we all saw from the presentation. But one of the things about your analysis, Andre, was that we didn't know what was in that like oasis-looking area, kind of to the right of the starting point. So naturally, that was the first place I went.
Oh, glad you did.
And so you guys will probably have already seen that footage, but I very quickly found out that as I was like running through the desert and exploring, there wasn't much to see, and I was like, I feel like I'm wasting my time because I'm not doing anything except just running through bare hills, and I very quickly needed to get back to find something to do. So that was a little surprising. I don't know if they're going to fill that in with more stuff to do, but it seemed like there was a lot of open space.
I don't think so, because this is also the same level we saw Mario riding on that lion.
Yeah,
that's true.
true.
Maybe you're meant to, you're meant to ride the Sphinx, or But I was a little surprised at how empty certain parts of that desert felt.
I mean, to be fair, it is a desert. That kind of goes with the territory.
True.
Yeah. What they could have done to get around that is make that quicksand, so you have no choice but to ride the Sphinx character. Either that or add a wind mechanic to get there.
Oh. Yeah, and it was cool to see that like once you did get to the oasis and activated the flag there, that's a warp point now, and you can activate the warp points at any time, and it's smart. Like it really does feel, once again, like there's some Zelda influence here from Breath of the Wild, just in how open it is and how you have different ways that you can approach the problem.
Which in turn was influenced by Mario 64. Which in turn was influenced by original Zelda. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. By the way, I feel I should mention for the record, I've gotten a lot of people asking what we thought of Metroid, Kirby, and Yoshi. I want to state for the record, none of those games are here playable at the show.
Right.
Yeah.
So no Metroid, no Kirby, no Yoshi. Not here.
Yeah, we would be definitely getting those if they were available. I want to play Kirby so much. Like,
me too.
Kirby's been on such a roll lately. It's like, come on, let's see what you got this time. Like, it's 4-player. It could be, and it looks like it could be easily 1-player as well. Yeah. Could just treat it like Superstar, where you make an AI companion, maybe 3 AI companions, and still be able to have a lot of fun. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't think we even know the developer of Metroid Prime 4 yet, do we?
We sure don't.
Nope.
So all we know that it isn't retro.
Yep. So we can't even sneak into there to play it. So.
Yeah. it makes the how far along Metroid Prime 4 is a lot more mysterious, because when we were under the impression that it was Retro is like, oh, they've had 3-4 years to work on this. It
Yeah.
might be ready very soon. We don't know when development started on
That's
this
a good
one.
point, because I think when we discussed it this morning, did we know at that
We
point?
didn't know yet.
We didn't
No.
know,
We
right?
didn't find out until afterwards.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
because we were talking along the lines of like if it's retro, it has to have some decent progress in there for being in production for presumably 3 years.
Yeah.
But now that's not the case. They may have just started production. Who knows?
I get the
Yeah.
sense it's very early along, just because they could have shown us even some teaser footage. And
Right.
the fact they didn't
Just
tells
showing
me,
Samus.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah, so I get the sense it's very early in development, and
They-
maybe not to expect it for a while.
They showed way more of Metroid Prime 3 when they first revealed that, and that was literally just a cutscene of Samus
Yeah.
like going into her ship or exiting her ship or something.
I fully expect Metroid Prime 4 to be like one of their
2019 games.
or well, not only that, but like one of their featured games on the show floor at E3 next year. Like I think that's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be one of their big playable games on the show floor next year for like a holiday release next year, or maybe even 2019, as you said.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't expect that game soon whatsoever. But the other part of that is, what the hell is
Yeah,
Retro
exactly.
working on?
yeah.
Yeah.
That is a very good question.
It's been like 5 years now.
Like, will we find out this year?
I-
A direct, maybe?
I don't know.
I don't
really
even know.
I want a retro direct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just want
seriously.
to know what they're making.
Exactly.
Yeah, no clues from a pin or clothing or anything, so who knows?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's almost like they just don't exist
Yeah.
anymore. Even though they obviously do, but we just don't hear from them ever.
It really, I mean, going off of Metroid, it did kind of feel like Nintendo was like, okay, let's shut up some of these fans because we got that Metroid stuff
Yeah.
for those fans, and then for Pokemon Pokemon fans who were complaining about Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon not being on the Switch, there's just that little bit in there. It's like, yes, we're developing a Pokemon game, a mainline Pokemon game for the Switch, and it's just like, there you go. Shut
To their
up.
credit, I said this in the first discussion too, like, the retro thing fell a little bit cheap, or not the retro, the Metroid thing fell a little bit cheap, Metroid Prime 4, but I understand why they did that, because,
Right.
you know, if we got another Metroid game, even as cool as it looks on the 3DS, without, you know, another, like, full, like, Metroid Prime game, I suppose,
So, yeah.
the reaction might have been different, so, same thing with Pokemon, like, it felt like that was a bit of a reaction to the recent,
Yeah, direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm all about throwing Metroid and Pokemon fans a bone. I think it's cool they did that. So can we please get a bone thrown for Mother fans? What?
right?
They're
Ah.
not complaining enough.
I guess not.
Mother fans, Animal Crossing fans,
Yeah, Animal
F-Zero
Crossing.
fans.
Yeah.
What if like Nintendo just heard all those rumors about Mother and they're like, you know what, let's just ride this out for a few years, just so it seems like a surprise
A
again.
few
and
more
they announce it.
years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I have officially don't know what to think about that anymore because those rumors came up for a while and 2016 came and went and I don't know.
I'm still hopeful. I mean, I said before, I
Yeah.
don't think Mother was a venue for E3 was a venue for Mother.
That's true. That's true.
So if it's coming, if it doesn't come this year, or if it isn't announced this year, then I might hang up.
I mean, in my opinion, whenever they finally decide to show off the Virtual Console,
Yeah.
that and GameCube titles
Yeah.
are how you blow that out
Exactly.
of the water.
Yeah.
Although again, I'm not sure they consider Mother 3 like a true Virtual Console.
With
title.
how many people beg, I don't know. I
Well,
know
my
what you
point.
mean.
Yeah, I think they could treat it almost as a new game.
Yeah.
And it's it's weird too because there was that interview with Reggie recently where he said someone asked me about Mother 3 today and maybe you want to ask me about Metroid, talk to me in a year.
That's true.
And let's see where we are. Well, we got Metroid, so
True.
we know that Reggie knows that people want it. It's obviously on their radar. So I don't know. He did name drop it though. I don't know.
Were Metroid and Mother part of the same question?
No, his answer to the question was, someone earlier today asked me about
Oh,
Metroid.
that's
Maybe
right,
you
okay.
want to ask me about Mother 3. All I can say is, we are always keeping a constant eye on whatever,
Wait, was the question about Mother 3 though?
I can't remember I think
Whichever.
the question was...
One or the other.
If it was,
Yeah.
that'd be such a sneaky way to get out of that.
I don't think it was about
looping in an unrelated game.
Yeah,
and
that
then,
you know that you're working
Right,
on.
exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe then he says like Metroid Mother, Last Boss of Return of Samus.
Oh, man.
There you go.
Yeah, it might have been just like a generic, how do you decide what,
Yeah.
what franchises to bring the Switch,
Okay.
something
Yeah.
like that.
And
Yeah.
I love the gameplay they showed of Metroid Return of Samus
Samus Returns.
Samus Returns. I'm
Yeah.
so used to the original because that was my first Metroid game, so it's kind of cool for me. But it's being made by Mercury Steam, who worked on the Castlevania Lords of Shadow games, and I liked the first Lords of Shadow, and I even thought, it was very different from other 2D Castlevanias, but the one on 3DS was also pretty decent. Yeah. Now they failed completely with somehow or other with Lords of Shadow 2, but I feel like these guys are a good developer, and they're taking some of the ideas that other M had that were really fun, like that close combat stuff, like that being able to just swipe a Metroid and have these really cool like tangles with them. Like makes it cool and dynamic. So
Although
I'm excited for it.
I feel just for the purposes of Devil's Advocate, it is worth noting that they also made Castlevania Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate for the 3DS, and it wasn't very good.
No, that's what I mentioned. Their 2D.
Oh, did you say Mirror of Fate? I didn't hear
I
you.
thought you meant the second one.
Yeah, I thought you said 2.
I did. But
okay.
I mentioned that they had made the 3DS version as well,
Gotcha.
which was a 2D one. I forgot that it was called Mirror of Fate. It wasn't. I didn't mind it.
Really?
I didn't mind it. But I was all.
But-
I'm also more forgiving.
And also, to be fair, I'm sure Nintendo's has tons of oversight over this game.
Yeah.
They're not going to let this game come out and be meh.
Right.
Yeah.
On our scale.
Same,
On our scale.
Same producer who guided Retro to make Metroid Prime is on it too. So.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Any final thoughts at all? Anything you want to touch on, or what's the first? Or if not, what's the first game you're going to hit up tomorrow?
Sonic Mania.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. I'm gonna try. I don't know. First up, depends on how the treehouse gets treated. I know we have Yoshi coming up, but also a lot of Pokken stuff. So I'll probably keep an eye on that before I head out. But then Mario Mania, and I actually
Mario
have
Mania.
Yeah,
Heard it here
Mario,
first.
Mario Mania.
Mario Mania.
And then I have an appointment to see the Risky Boots DLC, that part of Shantae. So I'm looking forward to trying that out because love my Shantae.
And
Side note: Mario Mania actually was a player's guide.
I was going to say, like, the player's guide. I love that.
Yeah.
it was so good too.
Yeah. And I was in. None of us have even been to South Hall yet, so that is
Yeah.
a destination of mine tomorrow.
Well, it's basically miles away.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I got to play MVC Infinite. I got to go to Capcom. I got to check out Square Enix, play some more Dissidia. So I'm definitely going to be hitting in South Hall tomorrow.
Yeah, by day 3 for me.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll hit up Mario plus Rabbids first. I'm gonna check
Nice.
that one out.
I do want to give that one a shot. It looks interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
I wouldn't mind trying that out too. It's just I hate lines.
I know.
Yeah.
I see those long lines and I just get like, no.
Well, and you kind of touched on this earlier, Andre, when we were chatting. But it's just playing any game, even the ones you are the most hyped about, is just not the same at a crowded, sweaty,
not,
hot,
yeah.
smelly show floor.
I
with
know.
your feet hurting, and it's just not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we sound spoiled, but like E3 is like the last place on earth I want to play a game at. So.
Yeah, like as cool as it is, it doesn't compare. It's not the same as playing this game you're hyped about in the comfort of your own home.
It's
Because you
not.
can't hear it, you're uncomfortable. I'm not complaining, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can lose almost half the experience just from the audio alone being like,
Exactly.
Oh, that's
Drown
actually
out.
kind of did happen during Sonic Forces, where for some reason, like the audio was kind of dropped out every so often. I don't think it was the game. I think it was the headphones.
That's right.
Okay.
headphones,
Yeah.
Alright, well I think we're about done here, so thanks for listening guys. If you liked our discussion, for one, make sure to stay tuned tomorrow for day 2 for a day 2 discussion, as well as make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. Find links in the description below to go keep updated on everything we post, and also click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And just stay tuned for lots more Nintendo coverage and other coverage, probably, maybe, tomorrow, I think.
Yeah.
Non-Nintendo coverage, and everything else, so catch you guys later. Bye.
just never leave your computer. GameXplain. GameXplain forever.
Yes.